All right, guys, let's take a look at Bitcoin today. It's been a rocky couple days in Bitcoin. We dumped all the way down to 38,600, something like that. I made a video yesterday. I said I think that's probably as low as we're going to go. We'll probably pump up from there, and lo and behold, we have pumped up from there. Now, the concerning thing is I thought we'd probably pump higher once we hit bottom. We're barely hanging at 40,000, so we'll probably go under 40,000 again, maybe hanging out between like 39.5 and 40, and then we'll just have to see what happens. I really did think we'd pump a little bit harder, so we might actually just be between 38.6 and 40,000 for the next couple days. I really don't know, but it is a positive sign that it looks like we kind of hit a bottom. That might be the bottom, 38.6. Hopefully it is. And of course, when Bitcoin pumps, you got your altcoins pumping a little bit too. A lot of your altcoins up between 5 and 7%. So, like I said, guys, this is par for the course. This is no big deal. Interestingly, I was listening to Crypto Ram when I was running this morning. He was talking about, this whole grayscale selling, Bitcoin is kind of a black swan event. I guess in a way I kind of agree with him, because who could have really predicted that once we get the ETF approved that grayscale would just kind of sell? For one, nobody knew we were even going to get the ETF approved or knew when. And I don't think anybody was thinking like, oh, and that'll probably be grayscale selling. So Rand kind of talks about that a little bit. Kind of makes some sense. I know he does like an hour video, and I always agree with like maybe 2 or 3 things out of like the 500 things he talks about. And like I said, most of his channel right now is just shilling his sponsors, trying to get people to trade on Bybit. But this was interesting, so let me play this clip.
Where 620,000, the largest Bitcoin holder in the world other than Satoshi, eventually gets their coins unlocked. That is, for all intents and purposes, a black swan event. And the thing about black swan events is that are unnatural events, and there are unnatural events which happen like very, very, very rarely in our lifetimes. Like if you think of the black swan events in our lifetimes, COVID, certainly that was one of them. Brexit, that was maybe one of them. I don't know if intervention in Libya was a black swan event. The global financial crisis, that was...
Oh, also, this is interesting. Look at his comments. This guy says, yesterday Rand said, don't buy, but now he's saying buy. That is true. If you watched Crypto Rand's channel yesterday, he was telling everybody we're going a lot lower. These guys have no idea what they're talking about. I don't even know why I play his clips. I just feel like every so often he says something that's interesting. But anyway, let me continue.
One of them, what you can see here, 9/11, that was one of them. Black swan events are very, very, very rare events. And that's really how we should view the grayscale event. We'll never, ever, ever in our entire lifetimes, we will never have an event where the largest Bitcoin holders' coins were locked up and then become unlocked on one day. And so yesterday I said to you, look, the way to understand this is you need to understand what previous black swan events look like. How do they affect the market? I told you, I did the analysis yesterday, and what you can see is that generally the market reacts very, very, very badly in the beginning of the black swan event. Just look at this part over here. And then very quickly, when the market rationalizes what's going on, the market bounces really, really hard. You can see the same thing happen here, intervention in Libya. That's not a black swan. Brexit vote, big correction, and then immediate dip to go parabolic. COVID-19, big correction, and then immediate parabolic dip. So what we saw exactly that behavior with GBTC. It's a black swan event. As I said to you, what's going to happen is the market's going to imagine the worst, assume the worst, and then at some point, there's going to be a turning point. That's what I said to you yesterday. At some point, there's going to be a turning point. Something's going to happen, and the market's going to say, okay, the worst is over, and now it's time for us to go parabolic. That's what's going to happen. I said this to you yesterday.
He's so full of shit, because yesterday he was saying we're going a lot lower. But so I think with Rand he's more like, I look at him more like a news anchor. I know he has a bunch of people working for him. I think they just kind of like give him stories to talk about, but he really has no idea what he's talking about. I think they just throw a story in front of him, and then he kind of gives his opinions, which are usually wrong. But I do kind of agree that it was kind of black swan in a way that people really weren't expecting grayscale to be selling. It wasn't like in anybody's mind, and now they're dumping on the market, and that's of course what's causing the dump. So let's say, has Bitcoin gone under 40,000? I don't know. really been like around 40,000 all morning. So we'll have to monitor. But yeah, I'm not too confident we're going to be holding this. But anyway, but who knows, guys? At this point, it's like flipping a coin. Um, but I think it is healthy that we did bounce from 38.6 to 40,000. All right, what else is going on? Talking about the ETF. Here's an article I found at how successful these ETFs are, no matter what like Jim Cramer tells you. It says 9-spot Bitcoin ETFs buy 100,000 Bitcoin in 7 days. That's a lot of Bitcoin. Grayscale's Bitcoin exchange traded ETF dumped more than 80,000 Bitcoin in the days after its trading launch. Is that supposed to be a launch? They spelled it lunch. Man, I'm a horrible speller, but even I would know that's lunch and not launch. Yeah, Lunch. That's lunch, right? That's not launch. Anyway, but 9 other spot ETFs stacked over 100,000. So Grayscale sold 80,000 so far, and the ETFs have bought 100,000. So that's at least a good sign. Yeah, and more people are going to pile into these ETFs as time goes on. I think, like I said, the halvening is going to be the next catalyst. So once we get the halvening, with Bitcoin, people only like to buy Bitcoin when it's pumping. Let's be honest. So we get the halvening, Bitcoin goes up to $50,000 or whatever, then people are really going to be flooding into these ETFs. I think right now it's just kind of the start. It's absolutely just the start. All right, that's that. Found this article, which I found interesting. 2 analysts target 22x for Cardano rally to $11 this season. I always said 5 to 8 for Cardano, but yeah, definitely best case scenario 11. Let's see what they're having to say. I hope it's not that damn Bongingo. It is. It's always this Dan. Oh my God. Oh, well, here. So the 2 analysts are Ben Armstrong, who, believe it or not, I shit on Ben Armstrong a lot, who is BitBoy. He actually has a decent gauge of the market. Interestingly, with Ben Armstrong, he actually called when the bull. You're not going to believe this, but you guys can go check. He actually called when the bull market was going to start in 2021. He called it in 2019. I'll never forget it. I was driving in my car and he was just talking about it. He's like, the bull run's going to start at this particular time. And I had made like a mental note of it, and it like pretty much started at that exact time. So he does have a decent gauge. Dan Gambabinglo, he's like the guy who does Cardano videos. I think it's Crypto Capital Venture. He has no gauge on the market. So that's averages out. We got Ben Armstrong, who has a gauge, and Dan. So we'll average in the middle at $5 Cardano. Anyways, let's see what they say. In recent analyst on his YouTube channel, Armstrong disclosed his bullish prediction for Cardano. Specifically, he set a target of $11. Meanwhile, Armstrong failed to provide a detailed analysis supporting his $11 optimistic outlook. Instead, he arrived at the figure after referencing a previous Cardano analyst by renowned market watcher Ali Martinez. Ali Martinez is a very good predictor, so I would actually, if Ben Armstrong is going off Ali Martinez, that's a good sign. Notably, Martinez foresees Cardano clocking a $7 peak in the coming bull market. That's kind of where I am, 5 to 8. I'll be getting out most of my Cardano out 5, but I'll keep some just in case we go higher. $7 is more reasonable, I think. And Dan Bonglingo, or whatever the fuck, I'll show you who this guy is. Dan Bonglingo is this guy. This guy's never right. I can tell you that right now. Before I started my YouTube channel, I was begging people on his channel to sell their Cardano at $3, and they were all yelling at me. And you can find my YouTube video where I actually post the screenshots of me begging people to sell Cardano at $3 in 2021, because I told everybody it was gonna be the top. And I think he was telling people it was gonna go to like $10 or something like that. So he seems like a real nice guy, but I don't think he has any gauge in the market. So anyway, that's that. I mean, let's see what else they're saying. All right, Martinez suggests that if historical trends repeat, Cardano can potentially reminisce its uptrend in April, while acknowledging the potential of periodic resistance along the way. The analysts argued that Cardano could ultimately clinch the $7 threshold. Building up Martinez analyst Armstrong set a bullish target for Cardano, $11, blah, blah, blah. And of course, you have Dan Gomboblino offered a more detailed insight into the rationale behind his $11 outlook. Yeah, Crypto Capital Venture Dan, he does more like analytics. Like he'll go into the charts and stuff like that, which I've always said for altcoins, the charts don't matter. It just matters how much pumpage there is out there and how much interest there is. The charts don't matter. The charts told him Cardano was going to $10 in 2021, and of course we hit $3 and then we dumped. So, but I am happy to see that Ben Armstrong is shilling Cardano, because Ben Armstrong is almost at like 100,000 subscribers. So yeah, keep shilling. All right, is there anything else to speak of? You know, this fucking guy, Arthur Hayes. So he came out last week or a couple days ago, and he said he's going to be shorting Bitcoin. And this guy right here, Arthur Hayes, he's really weird. Like, you don't see, he's a felon. Like, he's a felon. I think he was one of the Bitfinex guys. Like, he's a scammer. He's a scammer. He's like a lowlife. He's like a used car salesman. I don't like the guy. Never have. I think he just got off house arrest, to be honest with you. So what he's doing right now is he's talking about a $30,000 Bitcoin because he's shorting the hell out of Bitcoin. And I would not go off anything this guy says. But the cool thing about this guy is he pretty much tells you what he's going to do. So you can kind of like figure it out. Like last week he comes out and says he's shorting. And now every tweet he makes, he's talking about a $30,000 Bitcoin. So Bitcoin price risks $30,000 over supercharged inflation. He's talking about inflation crashing Bitcoin to 30,000. Like, give me a break. I mean, inflation, that's what you picked? Bitcoin is flashing red because of upcoming turbulence in the US and global economy. The crypto OG concludes in his latest Bitcoin forecast. Bitcoin may still be 75% up versus a year ago, but it faces a perfect storm of downside volatility this quarter. For Hayes, these come in several guises. The Red Sea conflict between the United States and Houthis. That's not going to have anything to do with Bitcoin dumping. The Iran militia, the Iran-funded Houthis. Yeah, that's not going to crash Bitcoin. The U.S. presidential election. That could, but I think Trump's going to win, and I think that'll pump Bitcoin. Trump already came out and said no digital dollar. So, like I said, I've always said, if you're voting for a Democrat and you're into crypto, it's like voting for Hitler in World War II as a Jew. Higher shipping costs. Like, he's just pulling stuff out of his ass, though. So anyway, I don't like this guy. I wouldn't listen to anything he says. Like I said, he's shorting Bitcoin right now, so he's hoping for 30,000. So he's just kind of putting out these tweets. Could Bitcoin go down to 30,000? Yeah, I mean, we could, and we really could. And then we'd pretty much lose all the gains we had. And then, I wouldn't see that happening after the halving. If Bitcoin goes down to 30,000, it has to happen within the next month, or at least the next 2 months. But there would have to be some really bad news. That wouldn't just be GBTC selling. There would have to be I would have to say stock market crash, like stock market and housing market completely crash. And then we get a COVID black swan dump down to 30,000. But the reasons this guy, Arthur Hayes, pointed out, I just don't think so. All right. And I found this interesting. I'm like a gamer. I collect all the retro video game systems. I have them all. I have all my systems are modded. My Wii is modded. My Sega, my Nintendo, my Super Nintendo. I should actually probably have a retro gaming channel, but there's way too many of them. So I'm not going to do that. But so yeah, it looks like here somebody put legendary 90s video game Doom on Dogecoin, which Doom is like one of the, that's the game that started first-person shooters. It was the first first-person shooter, at least one of the first. I think Wolfenstein was the first, but they put it on Dogecoin. The ordinal technology native to the Dogecoin blockchain is allowing developers to bring utility to the meme tokens network. Doom, the popular and influential first-person shooter game from 1993, God, the good old days. I wish we could go back to the 90s, is now available on the Dogecoin network thanks to a relatively new protocol that lets developers stash large amounts of data on a blockchain. Anyway, I don't even know why I decided to bring that up. It just kind of caught my eye. That makes me love Dogecoin even more. And Dogecoin under 8 cents now, back to almost in the upper sevens. So definitely a good time to buy Doge. All right, let's check the markets one more time. 40,000 Bitcoin. You know, I know Bitcoin's under 40,000 on some exchanges right now, but it looks to me like we're hanging out at 40. So the question is Grayscale going? Are they taking a breather right now? Is Grayscale taking a breather, and are they going to start dumping some more Bitcoin in the coming days? I think it's very positive we're above 40,000 right now. I really wish for more like 41. I'd feel better about it. So I think we're kind of in no man's land right now. But if you're getting anything at all out of what's going on right now, it doesn't take much. So Bitcoin pumps up from 39,000 to 40, and look at these altcoins. You got Solana back up to $87. So you got, I mean, you can just go down the list. AVAX up 7, Doge up 2, Arbitrum up 6. I mean, a lot of these coins are up 5 to 10%. So even if we dump further, it's obviously a buying opportunity. And once Bitcoin shoots back up to $45,000, $50,000, your altcoins are probably going to be even higher than where they were just a couple of weeks ago. All right, guys, like and subscribe. Talk to you later.